Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining the conversation. This is your host, CJ Ward, and here at a Conscientious Conversation, it is termed as a conversation that only requires two or more willing individuals, an open and honest conversation, a conversation with the intent of improving the quality of life for the entire country and not just for select groups of this United Nation. So let's have a seat and discuss. So today, I am joined by the awesome, dynamic Dr. Phillip Clay. Dr. Clay, thank you for joining with me today. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. I'm very pretty much excited to be on this podcast. I got a lot on my chest and a lot on my mind to get off and share with your listeners.
Hey, that's what's up, man. No complaints on this end. So I guess we could start by, you introducing yourself, because I don't want to leave anything out. So, the table's yours.
All right. Well, listeners, first of all, my name is Dr. Phillip Clay. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I've been an educator for over 20 years, K all the way through college. So I've taught them all on all levels and even in every setting. I've been involved in community activism as well as various community events to uplift our community. I've been involved in coaching on all levels of sports, been very successful at it. Basketball and football. But professionally, right now, I'll call Kentucky State University, which is my alma mater. I'm a double alumnus. I'm a legacy of the university. And again, I say Kentucky State University. I started there as an assistant professor. I have grown within the last 4 years, all the way to an associate professor. At this current time, this is my second year of being the faculty senate president, which is I basically speak and oversee the entire faculty of the university, which is 130 faculty members. That's new for someone this, I ain't gonna say I'm not young, but someone not having that much time on the higher ed level. But this is my second year, and I've been involved in numerous of committees to further the university, HBCUs, the Black community, schools, all kinds of reforms. I've been engaged over 20 committees, I know for sure. I've also traveled the nation, speaking on testing strategies, may it be special education, which is also my background, also leadership, and Black males. And yes, I'm here to talk about our Black males in society today. But the other kicker is I'm also an entrepreneur. I have owned my own clothing business, of which I had since 1999. But currently my wife and I, we are co-partners of Clay and Associates, which is a life insurance and investments company, which is a subsidiary of Primerica. All right, that's Primerica. Very substantial insurance company. And again, life insurance is critical to our Black community, as well as being able to start generational wealth. And I can go further on talking about what life insurance can do for you, but I can tell you what can do more for your family and their kids and their kids after that. So I'm definitely here to share and touch on that. But I got a couple topics I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to let my good friend and brother, CJ Ward, take it from here.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Hey, you did it way more justice than I could have. So, I appreciate you for sharing yourself with the people and introducing yourself. Me and Dr. Clay, we go back to 2019. That's when I met this brother. And, at the time, 2018. Sorry, my apologies. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was doing an assignment as a teacher at Rep Academy. It was right across the street from K-State. And, at the time, I was teaching history, English, and entrepreneurship. And, just along the path, that was also a part of a Conscientious Conversation, which is a dissertation and a whole, doctoral work in itself. So this is a part of it. But at the time I was doing the teaching component as far as like an internship type of thing, getting field experience. And, just having the time to speak with this man, I was like, he's different, and what I mean by different, just different mentality. Sometimes, people may have their own agenda and not everyone is genuine. Unfortunately, when it comes to, as we were talking about earlier, the state of Black men in America, sometimes there's this term called crabs in the barrel. And, I'm just glad he's not one of those individuals. And when I say he's different and he's genuine, I came to him and I said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And we had, additional conversations after that. And he never changed, not once. He stayed solid. And, even to the point to when I was in Lexington, he gave me some great advice, which I still appreciate to this day. So, good brother. And I appreciate him for joining this conversation. So, I know you said you had some topics to discuss. And, I heard a lot of, great things coming from K-State in that position, that you're presently in. I know you're doing wonders. I already know. So, we talked about a few topics beforehand, at least, as far as just the names, the state of Black men in America, Black issues in America, and also, the influence of media. So thinking about those three things, I know you spoke about education. You talked about being a business owner and not only, doing the business since 1999, but through all the years and all your experience, how have you seen those areas sort of change over the years, or have you seen changes, and how do you currently see them? You can choose either three of those.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead as we're talking about Black issues in America.
Okay.
First thing I'm going to talk about is education. When doing my dissertation, I did a dissertation on the uneducation of the Black male. And I did a lot of research. At one time, the Black male in the early 1900s was the most successful academically individual on the walking planet Earth. Wow. We were the top of the cream when it came to education and entrepreneurship. But over time, as you look in 2021, speaking on the media lets our younger youth think that we really rolling and we really balling. And a lot of our youth and communities get confused on who's really running things and the steps that it takes to be successful as not only an entrepreneur, but also the importance of education. You see other minorities coming over in America now, and the sad part, I'm a realist. As of right now, the Black male went from being the top of the field and the realm of education to the bottom. And at this current time, we are the lowest Black males performing in reading and math and writing in education. So obviously, it took a lot of time for the media and society and the government to work on us. And yes, they continue to work on us. But at this current time, we are last. And, the sad part is we are behind Hispanics who come over to America struggling to speak English. Yet they are performing higher than we are academically. They're earning scholarships at an alarming rate. And don't get me started on entrepreneurship and business. Those individuals have come over here with a plan. And in the meantime, the African-American community has went completely away from its roots on education, entrepreneurship, business, sustainability. All of these things have wandered over a century. And yes, it's not only due to ourselves. Somebody else is aiding and assisting on this, and that's why we can get into the socioeconomics. They put us in ghettos, they put us in bad schools, they put us in neighborhoods that are trash, they have no employment opportunities. Yet we ride around after COVID-19 and we look around and everybody's talking about we hiring, but where was these signs at in the 70s and 80s before the drug situation became an epidemic and a pandemic, and nobody was hiring us? But now everybody's sick and shut in. Now you want us to come to work. You want to pay us pennies and nickels, yet you're earning so much money now, you're going from being wealthy to flying to space. So I can go more and further deep into that. But then we talk about violence. And when you talk about the state of Black men in America, right now, it is beyond an alarm. It is beyond saddening. But if right now we are standing on the edge of a mountain that is crumbling and we're falling in. I know police violence against African Americans, especially males, is prevalent. We get all fired up when the police kills one of us. But what ticks me off more is that our politicians and our Black representatives come to those events, got their face up in the front, rallying us up. We running around protesting and going into businesses, stealing and robbing, doing a protest. Where did you see this happen during Dr. King's protest? You didn't see nobody in no suit with no tie running into some TV shop, grabbing a 70-inch TV that they didn't pay for and say they was a part of a rally for justice. But let me get back on that about police violence. We kill each other at alarming rates every day. Alarming rates. Our people are dying within our community at rates so high that our population here within the U.S. is now behind Hispanics. Let's just be honest about this. And I'm thinking our politicians, some of them are bought and paid for. They're not going to speak on it. And a lot of times when we say politics, a lot of our youth, the only thing they know is presidential. But let me tell you something, the most important politicians that you need to understand is your aldermen, your mayor, and those in your community. Get them behind you and understanding what's really happening. Then we can move further into the governors, the senators, and then the president. See, the president's got so many loopholes and so many checks and balances before he can even impact the Black community. That's why I didn't understand why so many folks was upset with Barack. They weren't going to let Barack help us out. Why would you help out a community that not only is killing itself at alarming rates, but boy, the drug game is bringing in billions, and we ain't reaping the benefits. Let me touch on that. If the Black community put forth a certain percentage of money earned, and I'm not saying go out and do crime and all of that, but if we put forth a certain amount of money back into our community, our schools will be much better. Stop trying to go into a barber shop and be a barber, but you bringing in $200,000 a year. You're not bringing that in as no barber. Go and get your group together, get a Subway, buy a McDonald's. Chick-fil-A is wrapped around the corner in every city. And I don't understand why, if you're doing dirt, come together and get out of the dirt and let's straighten yourself up and get our community together. But you know what? The government's not going to allow that. Okay, they've already legalized weed, yet they got a lot of us laying up in the jails for 10, 20, and 30 years. And you know the impact of that on the Black family? As we talk about Black issues in America, incarceration has killed the Black family. Yet Hillary wanted to come and be our president, and her husband put stuff together to put us away for decades.
3 strikes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Put us away. And the damage that was done in the late 70s, especially the 80s and the 90s with those reforms, it set us back decades.
Fact.
And then we look at the media today at our youth. I've been working with the youth for a long time. And I'm seeing a student come into college with skill sets that don't meet the college level.
Right.
You got students that are struggling with basic skill sets and they don't know how to write. They don't know how to communicate. But one thing they know how to do is pick up a cell phone, and I'm gonna tell you, when I say communicate, we have students, and not all of them. We have a lot of great students at the university. I'm not just talking HBCU, I'm talking PWI too. They use the same language they use texting when sending an email to a professor.
Right.
That should tell you something's wrong. Okay, so, the influence of the media is so impactful in that over time, the music that we see on TV, the music that we hear, back in my day, and I'm not that old, I'm only 46, there used to be censorship. Certain things couldn't come on TV.
Right.
Certain things could not come on the radio because they used to say, this right here could lead our youth into different levels that we can't bring them back from. And darn if they didn't do it.
Man, TV used to go off.
Hey,
right.
Instead of letting a little in, they let it all in. And because a lot of the politicians had their hands tied and were getting paid from especially the recording industry, and then the movie industry is censoring nothing.
Right.
So it's placing, what our kids today are dealing with so many things that we didn't have to deal with coming up. I'm telling you, if a child turns on the TV today, they got so many music apps they can listen to, and the music they listen to today, I'm telling you, parents, right now, take some time. Don't act like you're not cool, or don't say you're too good to listen to the music they listen to. Listen to what they're listening to, so you can understand how your child is being impacted, or may I say, be raised. There's musicians raising our kids today. While we cooking, they listening.
Hey, what they say, you are what you eat. It's more than just food. You know what I mean? So,
hey,
yeah.
Brother Ward, you said a mouthful. Because I tell my kids, and I even tell our students, because I'm one of the administrators for the School of Education. And one thing is, I know we just got our accreditation, I said about a year ago, but we had our backs to the wall and we had no leadership when it comes to the School of Education. And I decided as an up and coming young professor to take this accreditation on my back while sitting in a hotel over the summer because my house flooded. And I basically wrote and rewrote every document within our School of Education with the help of some very good colleagues. But I rewrote our whole school to make sure that we were an accredited School of Education, because I knew that we need some strong African-American males and females to get into these classrooms and show our kids the right way. Because what's going on is you're having some younger white females, mostly, because that's what you see, seeing our kids and having to teach our kids and understand our culture, of which when they leave the school doors and the campus, they disassociate themselves with it. A lot of the teachers that are educating our kids don't understand our culture. They don't even understand our failure. You got to fail before you become successful.
Truth.
And I tell kids that show me your friends, and that will show me your future. Show me your friends,
yep,
and that will also tell me what I need to think about preparing you for going forward. And I'm gonna share something personal. And I know I'm talking on and on, but I'm giving somebody some lessons today. Here I am being a doctor, 3 masters. My wife, we're all busy. She's a comedian. She's a business owner. We come from 2-parent households. But 5 years ago, my oldest son got shot 7 times.
Man.
So here it is, I sit there, and it came the day after Christmas. So after we celebrate, my son, now let me tell you something, parents and listeners, all your kids ain't gonna listen to everything that you give them, because there's gonna be somebody out there that they gonna think that they missing out,
Right.
or whatever, somebody in them streets, because I call it outside ears. You may be giving your kids all the wisdom, and I'm gonna tell you what's funny. I have a lot of times I used to think like, man, I got these kids to really go in the right direction who were going the wrong direction, and my own child wanted to go this way because he thought he was missing out, not knowing he wasn't prepared for that situation, and he got himself shot, caught up in the situation. He's alive today, but the damage has been done to him as far as mentally. Now, he's still able to be successful and manage himself, but the mental damage, PTSD in the Black community is major.
Hey,
and our kids.
Please speak on that.
Go ahead, brother. Share about that PTSD.
Not just from a mental health aspect. And you have to think about this even in the school setting. So you're having, especially in traditional settings, where if anyone is outside of that, they're penalized. So it's like, okay, so, I'll just say little Joey. This is no one in particular. Little Joey, comes to school, and he may have just been mad that he didn't get his way that morning. Depending on the teacher, depending on how they can identify with him, they may say, oh, well, he's just having a bad day. Let him go to this side of the room and just let him have his day. Where little Johnny, once again, this is no one in particular, may have, witnessed a parent being locked up the night before, or may have seen a murder, may have seen a shooting, and they come to school, they don't know how to deal with that. And who can they speak to? So they come out, and then someone speaks to them in a certain way without respect, and they react. That one decision could almost get them expelled, possibly expelled, suspended, or definitely taken out of the class. And it's not the same treatment. So when you talk about PTSD, I mean, of course, military veterans and even, adults and everything else. But when you talk about the kids, that's something that's rarely discussed and rarely considered. I'm sorry for cutting you off. That's something I'm passionate about, man.
This is why I'm here. And I'm going to say this. When it comes to PTSD, our community has been experiencing PTSD for decades.
Facts.
Matter of fact, when our fathers came back from Vietnam full of PTSD, they were not medicated and given the proper resources to right the ship after coming back from a lot of these wars. Right. Because people got to remember, this stuff goes all the way back to World War II, Vietnam, even the Iraq War. Because a lot of those soldiers have grandkids today. And that PTSD, I feel in the Black community, is not assessed. Depression, all of this stuff goes in. It's not looked at like it should have been. And now it's only being looked at because it's impacting the bottom line of others.
Right.
Young Black males in neighborhoods that are impoverished, young minorities, even Caucasian students that go through poverty, they go through abuse at home. I'm telling you now, this stuff should have been talked about even when I was in school in the 80s and 90s. But you didn't hear it talked about until now, because again, it's starting to impact the bottom line. What is the bottom line? That's money.
Right.
Okay. So, when you look at PTSD and how it's impacting education, a lot of those kids can't function. But what happens is, because a lot of school systems were unprepared on how to address the mental health, especially of Black males, they got labeled as EBD, which is emotional behavior disorder, or they got labeled and put in the special ed rooms, of which really hindered their progression going forward. Now, listeners, I want to say this. Special education can be a great thing for those that need it.
Right.
But there are so many, especially African-American males, are mislabeled at a high rate and placed in learning situations that are similar to an institution, a correctional institution.
Hey, let me, I have us in the seat on this.
Go ahead.
You hitting so many points, man. And, it's definitely, a podcast to have a conversation. And I definitely respect your point of view. And I know the viewers will too. So I don't want to, make this all about me, but I have to enter this in just because I'm not only speaking for myself, but also those that were around me, older than me and younger than me that experienced what I'm about to share. So what you were just talking about, things being misdiagnosed, especially when it comes to Black males, but it's really a lower socioeconomic. They just have us, knowing that, or they have us believing that race separates us, but it's really all about economics. But I will say, man, in my elementary here in, Paducah, Kentucky, man, there's an elementary called McNabb. And I can recall them having a cage. You hear me, man? They had a cage in the cafeteria for those children that misbehaved. And I was in the cage a few times. And there was, several of my classmates that were in and out of the cage. And I was wanting to do I'm still going to do it, but I've already started work on it. But seeing the effects of those of us that had to experience that at a young age. Here we are, first, second, third grade. And just because we're not like going toward what they want us to do, all right, something has to be wrong with you. So like, I'm gonna put myself out there, but my first grade teacher, that was the first person I ever flipped off in my life because, I was telling her, I'm like, look, even at a young age, I was taught by my mother specifically, but my father, definitely did his due. But I was like, hey, look, this is not how I learn. This is the type of stuff I need. I was advocating for myself that young, and she didn't listen to us. So I flipped her off. And it was one of those things in class where all the kids was like, oh, right. Yeah. But ever since then, I was labeled as trouble kid or labeled in that behavioral area.
Yeah.
And that affected my academics. That's why I go so hard these days. And, that's why, I have the educational background. But when you say that, man, I got to speak that, man, because it's not only affecting, the current, state of education, but
correct.
You think about the ones that may be in prison or may be getting out right now, those have been some lasting effects. So I just had to say that, man. But
hey, absolutely. And starting off, and I started off in this profession, I started off at a school called Martin Luther King Academy. And I don't know why every Martin Luther King street
right.
school has to be a problematic situation.
Everywhere. Yep.
Martin Luther King was my first year teaching. I had just started owning my clothing line and was going to the magic show. And, I thought I was really going to get into the business of in the world of fashion, but God had a bigger plan for me. I started to see, I was always having easy connections with the youth. I would see kids gravitate to me. And I never really looked at it because remember, at some time in life, we all have a selfish mind state. We're all trying to develop. But a lot of times when God is moving you in a certain direction, if you're not in tune with God, you're not going to see it, you're not going to feel it, and you might miss it. But I decided to get into teaching. And I said, okay, I was coaching. And I said, okay, maybe I could definitely benefit our people getting into the field of education. And I started off at MLK, and that school is an alternative school for, not elementary, middle and high. The school was off the hook. Not a lot of learning that took place, and it did if you really cared. In my room, I had math. So yes, the students did learn, and I pissed a lot of them off because I did show them that learning is critical. But I'm gonna tell you this, that was probably the best thing that happened for me was to go and work in that school because one, I still lived in an urban community, so I knew the kids. Mm-hmm. But two, the impact I made and the friendships, which is crazy. A lot of those kids that I had back at MLK, even at the first middle school, which I went to that school, Winburn Middle, I had the self-contained as well as the special ed room. I have good friends, and those students still look up to me today as a role model. I got more, I got more gratitude from working in those troubled classrooms than I did working in a classroom where everybody was learning.
Right. Funny how that is, huh?
I'm gonna tell you what, it's crazy because you could really find yourself falling asleep mentally in a classroom where everybody's learning and doing well and behaving. And you kind of sleep on your own skill sets. My skill set was getting in that mud and working with them because I was just like those kids.
Yeah.
I didn't mind having to go off every once in a while because that let them know that if you don't understand what I'm telling you now, that boss or that employer, they're not going to tell you 2 or 3 times to do what I'm telling you to do.
Right.
But it was more than the academic that I got out of working at these schools. It was the social. It was, shit, man, look, I know a couple kids that I've shifted their whole development. They got kids now. When they see me out, they would still respect me. They come to my table. And it's still Mr. Clay. It wasn't even Dr. Clay to you. But now, as I tell them, you almost 30, if not you're 30. So now you're a man now. So you can come and we can chop it up and eat at the same table because we could then. So those are the things that our kids are missing educationally is those strong Black males and females that really care about the direction of our youth. Because right now, even though our kids go to school for 7-8 hours a day, guess what they're doing and they're allowing kids to do? Listen to music. Those kids got the hip hop, it ain't even hip hop no more. They got that certain music in their ears all day. And back in my day, my grandmother used to say, you keep letting the devil talk to you.
Man.
Now, not calling these entertainers devils, but I'm telling you, their message is nothing of God and progression. So if they listening to the killing and robbing and shooting their own brother and demeaning the black woman or the woman, they hear that all day, they're going to act on what they hear. So it's only 24 hours in the day. And my own kids, I got to tell them, get that stuff out your ears. If they listen to music for 15 or 16 hours of the day, the other 7 is in school, they only hear you for 1. Who's raising your child?
That's the truth.
So when I look at these topics, Black issues in America, the state of Black men in America, first of all, we need more leaders. That's our biggest issue. We still looking for MLK to walk through that door. He ain't coming out that grave in Atlanta.
Man, that part.
Okay, Malcolm X ain't coming out that grave. Those were leaders. Now, were they perfect? No, they wasn't. But they were still leaders that stepped up at a time, and everything in life is timing. So they were good for their time. But we need somebody today that is knowledgeable about today's culture, technologically savvy, understanding of politics, understanding of socioeconomics, entrepreneurship, and investing. And that's why I'm gonna end up today my conversation on talking on investing. So when I talk about investing, my wife and I have a business called Clay and Associates Life Insurance through Primerica. We are the folks that we've learned under Chris and Michelle Durham, Deanna Daniels, they all everybody in our base camp, a base shop, is from HBCUs. I just went to Miami with everyone there. It was 30 couples and a couple singles was making six figures. We had people in Miami living a lifestyle that we all supposed to live through our hard work and planning. And remember, listeners, planning and preparation is key to success. And while we're there, you know, our business talks about setting up the Black house for being not only financially stable, but wealthy. A lot of the rich, wealthy white folks or white families that we know of today were either they got it from getting the money, you know, they received it because they were a part of a family, but that money came from life insurance policies and investments. So I want these listeners on here that are hearing this podcast to understand, get your own life insurance policy. Get the not the one that's on your job, because to be honest, a lot of us are bamboozled thinking that, oh, I got $100,000 policy on my job. No, you don't, because you don't own the policy. The business or the company owns your policy. So when you pass away, they're gonna take care of your burial. Right. And it's not gonna be at your family's liking. They're gonna give you a good burial, but it's not gonna be nothing outstanding. Right. But then it's over. Guess who's gonna get that cash value of your life insurance policy from work? Not your family, but them owners of the business and the company. They pay money every month, and a lot of us be like, oh, I got me a policy. I'm paying about $10 a month. You paying a group rate, okay? 10 or more people. And if you're in a big company like a school system, you got thousands of people. That's why you only paying $4 or $5 or $6 or $7 for insurance. Get your own policy to where not only if something happens to you on the job, they're gonna bury you, but now your family can get that whole face value of your policy. Yes, you may be gone, but this is my thing, brother CJ. What I tell my kids and my own brothers, I wanna be on the wall when I'm dead and gone. I don't wanna be in the photo album under the couch, gone and forgotten.
That's real talk, yeah.
And the reason why I say that is life insurance is big in that. Yes, I'm dead and gone, but I don't mind resting knowing that, one, my family is going to be okay financially as long as they handle the money and they took some of the seeds that I've planted in them. They're going to be okay. And then hopefully they take that and they grow on it and become a part of this business or create their own that's financially stable. And then they go ahead and move forward and take that jump start, because every Black family needs that jump start. And a lot of people don't know, but life insurance policies is that jump start. It's very important. So again, please get yourself a life insurance policy outside of your job. And with our business, which is Primerica, tied in with them, we invest the difference. So if you got a whole life policy and you paying $200, we're gonna give you a term policy for 30 years for about $100 or $120. Same face value. And then we're gonna take that $80 or that $100 and put it in investments to where now you can grow an investment over that same 30 year of your term. Now this is the kicker. For your whole life policy, when you die or if you live too long, which is 100, okay, if you live too long, they got things called annuities. All right, that's called you putting an investment out so you never run out of money when you get too old. But a lot of times in the black community, we invest. Okay, we don't invest. What we do is we take money out of our life insurance whole life policy. And what happens? By the time something happens, we all in an uproar because we don't get back that face value that we're supposed to get, because what we fail to understand is the insurance company is going to take back the money that you borrowed, but you got to pay that back with interest. So if you borrow money 20 years ago and you don't pay it back and your wife passes away, boy, that check ain't gonna look right. You're gonna owe some money coming out of your pocket. So it's very important to connect with folks like ourselves. And I'm gonna go ahead and give out our information right now before I get off on life insurance and investments. It's Clay and Associates, CLAY and Associates. It's Dr. Phillip Clay. All right. You can email me at pclay3717@gmail.com. And my wife, she is Laronda, the insurance lady Clay, also known as LC Funny. She's a big time comedian, really up and coming, been with some major people. Her contact is LRCLAY80@gmail.com. And you can give us a call and text us so we can know that it's you. Okay, text your information first at 859-396-8392. Or you can give us a call at 859-312-8736 and text your information. We will give you a call back. We'll send you a Zoom link and we'll get you rolling into this business, but we're going to make sure we get you a policy to make sure your family is right. So to cap off today's conversation, make sure you invest. Make sure you understand the dynamics of socioeconomics. Understand politics. Vote. Your vote matters. Become a part of your schools. Become intentional with your child's education. Invest in your child. Don't put the Jordans on their feet and not put the books in their faces. Yeah, books are still there. I used to put $100 in the book every school year, and I used to pull that $100 out off of my bookshelf full of books because I knew them kids wasn't reading books. And they'll get pissed off when I pull that $100 out of that book that's been staring them in their face.
Right.
In 1 year, I got a kid that loved to read. And that year, I ended up putting $200 in the book. I saw that boy pull that book out. And he didn't tell me initially that he had the $200 because he thought he stole the money. But he came back and told me, Doctor, it wasn't Doctor, it was Mr. Clay. I found $200 in one of your books. And I told him, no, young man, that $200 is for you pulling out these books, getting this knowledge that the media is not going to give you. Because every movie that's given to us comes from a book. They're only giving you parts and pieces. And I gave him that $200 and a good hug, a manly hug.
Yeah.
on what it means to, I see progression. And that child is doing well today. So I am very excited to be a part. And I tell you, brother CJ Ward, having this podcast, listeners, this is major. We need more situations like this. We need more media like this where we can voice a lot of nuggets. And I don't want you all to be grabbing for low-hanging fruit. We want the whole daggone tree. You deserve the whole tree. Your family deserves a whole tree. So, Black community, all community, go and get it. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this podcast. And again, I look forward to doing more. I got a lot on my mind and a lot on my chest. Thank you, Brother Ward.
Hey, man, much appreciation. Like I said, thank you again for joining me. And thank you for sharing this free game, to a lot of people that, may not have been educated otherwise. So, I don't take this, for granted at all. And, man, salute you, man. I appreciate the compliment because I wanted to do this since 2019, but I was like, man, I just waiting on time and waiting for things to get right. But, timing is everything. And I think right now is the right time. And I appreciate you for, saying that. And
absolutely.
You already shared your information as far as how they can reach you. How can they support you at K-State? Some of the efforts and some of the initiatives you're putting in place.
Well, I'll tell you what, they can definitely support us. Again, we're in Frankfort, Kentucky. And what I'm getting ready to do, because I got another quick meeting, but they can definitely support the institution Don't believe what the media is telling you. We're going to be okay. We're going to be there for another 135 years. But you can support Kentucky State University by giving, coming, being a part of the culture, being a part of the community. The HBCU life is outstanding. So I'm ready to slide into this next meeting, but support Kentucky State University. And I'm going to get on this next meeting. Brother Ward, we got plenty to share. I'll get with you. Thank you, brother.
All right. I'll wrap it up, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Keep going, man. Support you.
You too.
All right, y'all. As Dr. Phillip Clay just shared, there's a lot of things that need to be done. And as they say, the harvest is great, but the workers are few. So all those that they have something that they want to do in the community and they may be apprehensive just because they don't know how, hey, feel free to reach out, not only to myself, but as Dr. Clay also said, he just gave his information. So feel free to reach out to either of us. We try to, point you in the right direction. And, thank you for listening to this podcast today. It was a great episode. I learned some things. Hopefully I wasn't talking too much, but, I'm passionate about education and I'm passionate about the youth and I'm passionate about community engagement, period, point blank. So, continue to support Dr. Clay and his wife, awesome lady. We've already, built and met each other and, I'm actually, supporting them and part of their team. So, continue to look for things from us. And, we hope all is well with your way. And like I said, once again, thank you for joining the conversation. And once again, this is a Conscientious Conversation podcast with your host, CJ Ward. And I look forward to you joining myself again. Also, my co-host, she was unable to attend tonight because of other things. Based on this village talk, a lot of people that I'm pulling for these episodes are those that I respect. I've learned to respect and not only gave respect from the beginning, because to get respect, you got to give it. But, just along this path of me doing this Conscientious Conversation, the whole doctoral project, Dr. Clay was definitely one of those that I was like, once I get to the point to where most of the work is done and I can reach back and bring some of those people up and we can have village talk. So, Dana was one of the ones, she became my co-host. Dr. Clay's the next, and we have some other ones coming aboard and coming along. So continue to tune in and join us. And I appreciate your attention. So until the next conversation, y'all take care, be blessed, and be well. Nothing ever was handed, all about respect, never about ego. Wish I could have retired a long time ago and disappeared way beyond the trees. But my homies kept influencing me, said they needed to hear my lyrics, like my flow, cause they felt my spirit. Plus the people needed to hear it, a conversation with conscientious lyrics.